Zexthak slid his clawed finger across the datapad, reading the contract details for the third time. The numbers were real. 3 times his usual fee for what looked like a simple job. He had killed creatures from 47 different worlds, and none had ever paid this much for something so basic. The target was a human diplomat named Marcus Chen. The file showed a picture of an ordinary-looking creature with pale skin and dark hair. No visible weapons, no natural armor, no fangs or claws. The human looked soft and weak, like most of the prey species Zexthak had hunted before. The client wanted the human dead because he was causing trouble in the Outer Rim territories, something about trade disputes and political problems. Zexthak did not care about politics. He cared about credits, and this job would give him enough to buy a new ship. He studied the human biology files from the Galactic Mercenary Guild database. The information was old but clear. Humans were classified as Class 3 threats, which meant almost no danger at all. They had weak bones that broke easily. Their skin tore like paper. They had no natural weapons except small teeth that could barely bite through cooked meat. The file said humans were slow and clumsy compared to most galactic species. Their reflexes were poor. They could not see in the dark very well. They had no armor plating or thick hide to protect them. The worst thing they could do was throw rocks or swing sticks. Zexthak flexed his own natural weapons. His claws could cut through steel. His venom could drop a Krillian warrior in seconds. His skin could change color to match any background, making him nearly invisible. He was 2 meters tall and built like a hunting machine. This human would be dead before it even knew danger was near. The assassin finished his meal of raw meat and headed to the spaceport. His ship needed fuel for the journey to New Geneva, the human colony world where Marcus Chen lived. The spaceport was busy with traders and travelers from dozens of worlds. The air smelled of fuel and exotic spices. As Zexthak walked toward his ship, he heard his name called from behind. He turned to see Kreval, an old contact from Centauri Prime. The 4-eyed alien was sitting at a cantina table, drinking something that glowed blue in his glass. "Zexthak, my deadly friend," Kreval said with a grin. "What brings you to this backwater port?" "Business," Zexthak replied, sitting down across from his old acquaintance. "Simple job." "Good pay? What kind of target?" Kreval asked, taking another sip of his drink. "Human diplomat. Nothing special." The blue liquid sprayed from Kreval's mouth as he choked on his drink. His 4 eyes went wide with shock and fear. Other patrons at nearby tables stopped talking and stared at them. "Did you say human?" Kreval whispered, leaning forward. "Yes." "Why do you look like you have seen death itself?" Kreval grabbed Zexthak's arm with both hands. His grip was tight and desperate. "My friend, listen to me very carefully. Take the money and run. Do not go near that human. Do not even think about hunting one of those creatures." Zexthak pulled his arm free. "You are being foolish. Humans are Class 3 threats. They are weak prey animals with no natural defenses." "Those files are wrong," Kreval said urgently. "They are terribly, dangerously wrong. I have seen what humans can do. I was there during the border wars. I watched a single human soldier kill 12 draconian shock troopers with nothing but a broken chair leg in his bare hands." "That is impossible," Zexthak said. "Draconian troopers are armored and armed with plasma weapons." "The human did not care about armor or weapons," Kreval replied. "He just kept coming. They shot him 4 times and he kept fighting. They broke his arm and he used it as a club. When they thought he was finally dead, he got up and killed 3 more. Zexthak stood up from the table. "You are telling stories to scare children. I have a job to do." Kreval grabbed his arm again. "Please, old friend. The money is not worth your life. Humans are not what they seem. They come from a death world where everything tries to kill everything else. They learn to survive by being more stubborn than death itself." "Enough," Zexthak said firmly. "I have killed things much more dangerous than a soft human diplomat. This conversation is over." He walked away from the cantina, ignoring Kreval's calls behind him. Other aliens in the spaceport watched him go with strange expressions on their faces. Some looked worried. Others looked sad, as if they were watching someone walk to his own execution. At his ship, Zexthak loaded his weapons and equipment. He had poison darts, energy blades, and a dozen other tools for killing. His bio-adaptive suit would make him invisible to most sensors. His venom had never failed to paralyze any target within seconds. As he prepared for takeoff, his communication system beeped with an incoming message. The sender was anonymous, but the text was short and clear. Heard about your human contract. Advice from a friend. Run. Zexthak deleted the message without replying. More superstitious nonsense from weak-minded fools. He had built his reputation by taking contracts that other assassins feared. He had killed creatures that could crush starships with their bare hands. He had hunted things that breathed poison and bled acid. One small human would not be a problem. His ship lifted off from the spaceport and entered hyperspace toward New Geneva. The journey would take 3 days. Zexthak spent the time studying everything he could find about his target. Marcus Chen was 42 years old and worked as a trade negotiator for the Human Colonial Authority. He had no military training listed in his file. No combat experience. No special skills except talking to other diplomats. The human lived in a small apartment in New Geneva's diplomatic quarter. He walked to work every day at the same time. He ate lunch at the same restaurant. He followed a predictable routine that would make killing him simple. Zexthak also studied the layout of New Geneva. The colony had about 50,000 humans and a few thousand aliens from other species. The security was light, designed more for keeping peace than stopping professional killers. The local police carried basic weapons and had no experience dealing with serious threats. Everything about this job seemed perfect. Easy target, simple environment, good pay. Zexthak could not understand why other aliens had tried to warn him away from it. Perhaps they were jealous of his skills. Perhaps they wanted the contract for themselves. As his ship approached New Geneva, Zexthak checked his equipment one final time. His camouflage suit was working perfectly. His weapons were sharp and ready. His venom sacs were full of fresh poison that could kill most creatures in the galaxy. The human Marcus Chen had less than 24 hours to live, and he had no idea that death was coming for him. Zexthak smiled, showing his sharp teeth. This would be the easiest money he had ever earned. His ship entered New Geneva's atmosphere and the hunt began. Zexthak's ship landed at New Geneva's main spaceport without any problems. The customs officials barely looked at his forged documents before waving him through. Human security was as weak as he had expected. He rented a small room in a cheap hotel and began preparing for the assassination. But something strange started happening almost immediately. Word about his target had somehow spread through the criminal underground faster than he thought possible. The first visitor came to his hotel room that same evening. An Altarian smuggler named Vex knocked on his door looking nervous and scared. "You are Zexthak the Hunter, yes?" the blue-skinned alien asked in broken galactic standard. "I am. What do you want?" "Heard you hunting human. This very bad idea. Vex tells you run away now. Take ship and go far from here." Zexthak looked at the small Altarian with amusement. "You are afraid of humans? They are weak creatures with no natural weapons." Vex shook his head frantically. No. You not understand. Humans not weak. Humans most dangerous thing in galaxy. Vex saw human ship in Nebula Wars. Ship was broken, engines dead, crew should be dead too. But humans not die. They fix ship with pieces of other broken ships. They use their own blood to seal holes in hull. They keep fighting for 6 days with no food, no water, no sleep. That story sounds impossible, Zexthak said. Vex was there. Vex saw with own eyes. Human ship finally stopped fighting only when all humans dead. But they killed 20 enemy ships first. Even dead humans still dangerous because they booby-trap everything before dying. The Altarian left a small data chip on the table. This has recordings from Nebula Wars. You watch, then you run away like smart person. After Vex left, Zexthak played the data chip. The recordings showed human ships continuing to fight even when they were badly damaged. He watched human soldiers keep attacking enemies while bleeding from terrible wounds. In one clip, a human with a broken leg crawled across a battlefield to plant explosives on an enemy tank. Zexthak turned off the recordings. These were probably fake videos made to scare people. Humans were masters of lies and tricks, according to some species. They probably made these recordings to make their enemies afraid. The next morning, a draconian veteran found him at the hotel restaurant. The large-scaled creature sat down at his table without being invited. Long scars covered the draconian's arms and face. "I am Thurok," the warrior said in a deep voice. "I hear you hunt human." "News travels fast on this world," Zexthak replied. "I fought humans in the Terran expansion war," Thurok continued. "Lost half my unit to just 3 human soldiers. Want to know how?" Zexthak did not answer, but the draconian continued anyway. "We had them surrounded. 50 draconian warriors against 3 humans with basic weapons. Should have been easy victory. But humans did not fight like normal creatures. They fought like machines that could not be turned off. Thurok showed Zexthak his scarred hands. One human had no weapons left, so he bit my throat with his small teeth. Bit so hard he would not let go even when I shot him. His friends used his body as cover while they killed 6 more of my warriors. Surely you are exaggerating, Zexthak said. The human hung on my throat for 4 minutes after he died, Thurok replied. We had to cut his head off to make him let go. 4 minutes! Most creatures die and release immediately. Not humans. Humans hold on forever. The draconian stood up to leave. Humans not like other prey species. They not run when hunted. They turn around and hunt the hunter. Be very careful, assassin. That afternoon, Zexthak decided to scout the area where Marcus Chen worked. The diplomatic building was a simple structure with glass walls and minimal security. He found a good spot on a nearby rooftop where he could watch the humans' daily routine. While he was setting up his observation equipment, another alien appeared behind him. This one was a vegan trader with the long neck and feathered arms of his species. You are making a terrible mistake, the vegan said quietly. Zexthak spun around, surprised that anyone had managed to sneak up on him. How did you find me here? Every criminal on this world knows what you are planning, the trader replied. News spreads fast when someone is about to do something incredibly stupid. I am a professional assassin. I have killed 47 different species, but never a human, the vegan said. Humans different from all other species. They come from a world where everything tries to kill everything else. Planet Earth is death world where creatures must be strongest, smartest, or most stubborn to survive. The trader moved closer. Humans not strongest. Many creatures stronger. Humans not smartest. Several species smarter. But humans most stubborn creatures in galaxy. They never give up. Never stop trying. Never accept defeat. Stubbornness will not stop my venom, Zexthak said. You think your poison will work on creatures that evolve drinking poison? The vegan asked. Earth plants and animals make every kind of deadly chemical you can imagine. Humans survive by eating things that would kill most galactic species. Their bodies process toxins like they are vitamins. The trader left another data chip. This contains information about human biology that Guild does not have. Real information, not the lies in their databases. That evening, 3 more aliens visited Zexthak's hotel room. A Centaurian pilot, a Etherian mystic, and a Krillian soldier. All of them told similar stories about human capabilities. All of them begged him to abandon the contract. The Krillian was the most disturbing. Krillians were known as the fiercest warriors in the galaxy, but this one spoke about humans with genuine fear in his voice. I commanded shock troops during the Sol War, the soldier said. We thought humans would surrender when they saw our superior weapons and armor. Instead, they fought harder. The more impossible the situation became, the more determined they were to win. The Krillian pulled up images on his personal data pad. Look at this. Human soldiers after 7 days of continuous fighting. No sleep, no food, no medical supplies. They should be dead or insane. Instead, they are still fighting and still winning. The images showed human soldiers who looked like walking corpses, but their eyes were still bright and alert. They moved with purpose and coordination despite their terrible condition. We finally had to retreat, the Krillian admitted. Krillian shock troops retreated from humans. Do you understand how shameful that is for my people? Zexthak studied all the data chips that night. The information painted a very different picture of humanity than the Guild databases. According to these files, humans were persistence predators from a world where everything was trying to kill them. They had evolved to be incredibly adaptable and to never give up hunting their prey. The files described something called pursuit predation, where humans would chase their prey for days or weeks until the target collapsed from exhaustion. They said humans could run for longer distances than almost any other creature in the galaxy. They could survive in environments that would kill most species. Most disturbing of all, the files suggested that humans were intelligent in ways that were hard to understand. They could solve problems using materials and methods that other species would never think of. They could adapt to new situations faster than military computers could calculate responses. Zexthak closed the files and prepared for sleep. All of this information was probably exaggerated or false. Desperate aliens trying to protect their human allies by spreading scary stories. The Guild databases were official and reliable. Humans were Class 3 threats with no significant capabilities. But as he lay in his bed, Zexthak could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. Too many different species had told him the same warnings. Too many experienced warriors had shown real fear when talking about humans. Perhaps he should be more careful than usual when approaching this target. Perhaps the human might be slightly more dangerous than the average prey creature. He would find out tomorrow when the real hunt began. Zexthak spent the morning watching Marcus Chen's routine from his rooftop position. The human diplomat left his apartment at exactly 800 hours, just like the files predicted. He walked the same route to work, stopped at the same coffee shop, and greeted the same people along the way. Everything looked normal and predictable. The human appeared exactly as weak and defenseless as the guild databases described. He was average height for his species, with no visible weapons or armor. His movements were casual and relaxed, showing no awareness that death was hunting him. Zexthak followed the human throughout the day, staying invisible thanks to his bio-adaptive camouflage. Marcus Chen attended boring meetings, reviewed trade documents, and had lunch with other diplomats. Nothing about his behavior suggested he was anything more than a simple bureaucrat. The perfect opportunity came that evening. Marcus Chen was scheduled to attend a diplomatic reception at the colonial governor's mansion. The event would have many people, which meant confusion and distraction. Zexthak could kill his target and escape in the chaos. The assassin positioned himself in the mansion's garden an hour before the reception began. His camouflage made him invisible to both electronic sensors and natural eyes. His venom was fresh and ready. His claws were sharp enough to pierce any armor the human might be hiding under his formal clothes. Marcus Chen arrived at the reception exactly on time. He wore a simple black suit with no visible protection. He smiled and shook hands with other guests, looking completely relaxed and unaware of danger. Perfect prey, just waiting to be killed. Zexthak moved through the garden and into the mansion itself. The reception was held in a large ballroom filled with diplomats, traders, and colonial officials from several different species. Soft music played while servants offered food and drinks to the guests. The assassin found his target near the refreshment table, talking to a group of Centaurian trade representatives. Marcus Chen held a glass of wine in one hand and gestured casually with the other, as he spoke about cargo shipment schedules. Zexthak approached from behind, moving slowly and silently. His camouflage kept him completely invisible even in the bright ballroom lights. He extended one claw and prepared to scratch the human's neck. Just a small cut would be enough to inject the paralytic venom. The scratch was perfect. Zexthak's claw barely touched the human's skin, making a tiny wound that would be almost impossible to see. The venom entered Marcus Chen's bloodstream immediately. According to every test Zexthak had ever conducted, the target should collapse within 5 seconds. 5 seconds passed. The human continued talking about trade routes. 10 seconds passed. Marcus Chen laughed at something one of the Centaurians said and took a sip of his wine. 15 seconds passed. The human should have been unconscious and dying. Instead, he excused himself from the conversation and walked calmly toward the bathroom. Zexthak followed, confused and concerned. His venom had never failed before. Perhaps this particular human had some kind of natural resistance, or maybe he had not injected enough poison. He would try again with a larger dose. But as Marcus Chen entered the bathroom, he suddenly stopped and turned around. He looked directly at Zexthak's position, even though the camouflage should have made that impossible. "Interesting," the human said in a calm voice. "That was a neurotoxin, wasn't it? Probably attacks the nervous system through sodium channel disruption. Very clever design." Zexthak froze in shock. The human could see him somehow, despite the bio-adaptive camouflage that had fooled every other species in the galaxy. Marcus Chen reached into his jacket and pulled out a small medical device. He pressed it against his neck and activated it with a soft hiss. Good thing humans have been dealing with worse poisons than that since before we left Earth. Snake venom, spider bites, plant toxins, bacterial infections. Our immune systems are quite remarkable. The human smiled and looked directly into Zexthak's eyes. Also, your camouflage technology has a thermal signature gap in the infrared spectrum. Humans can see heat patterns better than most species realize. Zexthak's mind raced. This was impossible. Humans were supposed to have poor vision and slow reflexes. They were not supposed to detect advanced stealth technology or survive military-grade neurotoxins. "I know you're confused," Marcus Chen continued conversationally. The Mercenary Guild databases are terribly out of date when it comes to human capabilities. We prefer to let other species underestimate us. It makes life simpler. The human walked to the bathroom's fire alarm and pulled it. Immediately, loud sirens began wailing throughout the mansion. Emergency lights flashed on and off. The sprinkler system activated, soaking everyone in the building. Emergency protocols, Marcus explained over the noise. Very useful for creating chaos and confusion. Now we have about 30 minutes before security figures out this was a false alarm. Sexthak realized he needed to escape immediately. This human was not what he appeared to be. Something was very wrong with this entire situation. He turned to run toward the nearest exit. Running so soon? Marcus called after him. We haven't been properly introduced yet. I'm Marcus Chen, and you must be Sexthak of the Vorlani hunting clans. Your reputation precedes you. The assassin stopped dead. The human knew his name and his species. That information was not available in any public database. Only the guild and his clients were supposed to have those details. How do you know who I am? Sexthak demanded, abandoning any pretense of stealth. We've been expecting you, Marcus replied. Human intelligence intercepted your contract 3 days ago. We've been tracking your ship since you entered our space. Sexthak's camouflage flickered and failed completely. The bioadaptive system had never malfunctioned before, but the water from the sprinklers seemed to be interfering with its operation somehow. That's better, Marcus said. Much easier to have a conversation when we can see each other properly. Now I believe you were trying to kill me. I'm curious about your technique. The human began walking toward him with slow, deliberate steps. There was something predatory about the way he moved, despite his soft appearance. His eyes were bright and alert, tracking every small movement Sexthak made. The venom was a nice touch, Marcus continued. Very professional. Most species would have died from that dose. Unfortunately for you, humans process toxins differently than other galactic species. We're quite resilient. Sexthak backed toward the bathroom window. He could break through the glass and escape into the garden. From there, he could reach his ship and leave this world far behind. I wouldn't recommend jumping, Marcus said casually. It's a 3-story drop onto concrete. Your species has hollow bones for reduced weight, don't you? That fall would probably kill you. The human was right. Vorlani bones were designed for speed and agility, not for surviving long falls. Sexthak would have to find another way out. Besides, Marcus added, this is just getting interesting. I've never had a chance to meet a professional assassin before. I'd like to learn more about your methods. Sexthak drew an energy blade from his belt. The weapon hummed to life, casting a blue glow across the bathroom walls. Stay back, human. I am still armed and dangerous. Marcus Chen looked at the energy blade with what appeared to be genuine curiosity rather than fear. Fascinating. That's Krillian military technology, isn't it? Probably stolen from a weapons depot during the border wars. The power cell should give you about 20 minutes of continuous use. How did this human know so much about alien weapons technology? Nothing in his file suggested any military training or combat experience. You seem surprised, Marcus observed. Did you think diplomats just sit in meetings all day? Human diplomats are trained in threat assessment, tactical analysis, and emergency response. We deal with some very dangerous people in our line of work. The fire alarm finally stopped wailing, but the sprinklers continued soaking everything in the bathroom. Sexthak's equipment was getting waterlogged, and his natural abilities were being compromised by the moisture. Clever, he admitted grudgingly. You used the fire suppression system to disable my camouflage and weapon systems. Actually, Marcus said with a slight smile, I haven't even started being clever yet. That was just basic emergency management. Would you like to see what humans can really do? Sexthak decided he did not want to find out. He lunged forward with his energy blade, aiming for the human's heart. It was time to finish this job and escape before things got any worse. Marcus Chen moved aside with surprising speed and precision. The energy blade missed him by centimeters. Before Sexthak could recover his balance, the human had somehow moved behind him and was now blocking the bathroom door. Impressive reflexes, Marcus commented. Your people are natural hunters, aren't they? Too bad you picked the wrong prey this time. Sexthak realized he was trapped. Sexthak smashed through the bathroom window and leaped into the garden below. His hollow bones protested against the impact, but he managed to land without breaking anything important. Behind him, he could hear Marcus Chen calling security guards and giving them his exact location. The assassin ran through the mansion's grounds toward the main gate. His ship was parked at the commercial spaceport 15 kilometers away. If he could reach it, he could escape this cursed world and never accept another human contract. But as he reached the mansion's walls, Zexthak realized that Marcus Chen was somehow following him. The human had jumped from the same bathroom window and was now running across the garden with impossible speed and endurance. Humans were supposed to be slow and clumsy. The guild files clearly stated that their running speed was inferior to most galactic species. Yet Marcus was keeping pace with him easily, even though Zexthak was using his natural agility to leap over obstacles and climb walls. The chase moved from the mansion grounds into New Geneva's urban center. Zexthak used every trick he knew to lose his pursuer. He climbed up the sides of buildings using his claws. He leaped across gaps between rooftops that should have been impossible for the wingless human to cross. But Marcus Chen followed him everywhere. When Zexthak climbed buildings, the human found ways to scale the walls using maintenance ladders and fire escapes. When the assassin jumped between rooftops, Marcus used improvised tools to swing across the gaps or simply took running leaps that defied everything Zexthak knew about human physical capabilities. "This is impossible," Zexthak muttered as he paused on a rooftop to catch his breath. "Humans cannot do these things." "That's the problem with those old guild databases," Marcus called from the next building over. "They're based on observations of humans in safe, comfortable environments. You're seeing what we can do when we actually need to." The human was not even breathing hard despite running and climbing for 20 minutes. Zexthak, who prided himself on his endurance, was already starting to feel tired. "The thing about humans," Marcus continued conversationally, "is that we're persistence hunters. Our ancestors used to chase prey animals for days across the African savanna. We'd follow them until they collapsed from exhaustion, then move in for the kill." Zexthak tried to set a trap. He climbed down into an alley and hid behind a garbage container, planning to ambush the human when he followed. But Marcus somehow knew exactly where he was hiding. Behind the blue container, the human called out, "Nice try, but humans are also tracking specialists. We can follow footprints, scent trails, and disturbed vegetation across any terrain." The assassin abandoned stealth and tried direct confrontation instead. He turned and attacked with his energy blade, using his superior strength and natural weapons to overwhelm the soft human. Marcus avoided the blade strikes with fluid movements that seemed almost supernatural. He picked up pieces of debris from the alley and used them to block Zexthak's attacks. A broken pipe became a fighting staff. A torn piece of metal became a shield. A handful of dirt became a blinding weapon. "Humans are tool users," Marcus explained while dodging another blade strike. "We've been making weapons and tools for millions of years. Give us any environment and we'll find a way to use it against our enemies." Zexthak's energy blade struck the metal sheet Marcus was holding. Instead of cutting through it, the blade's power cell overloaded and exploded. The weapon was destroyed and Zexthak's hand was burned by the feedback. "You turned my own weapon against me," the assassin said in disbelief. "I know that model of energy blade," Marcus replied. "Krillian military surplus. The power coupling has a design flaw that makes it vulnerable to resonance feedback. Hit it with the right frequency and it destroys itself." How could a diplomat know such detailed technical information about alien weapons? Nothing about this human made sense according to the guild databases. The chase continued through New Geneva's industrial district. Zexthak was now limping from his injured hand and feeling genuinely exhausted for the first time in years. Marcus Chen seemed to be getting stronger and more confident with each passing minute. Every trap Zexthak tried, the human anticipated and countered. Every weapon he deployed, Marcus found a way to neutralize or turn against him. The assassin began to understand why so many aliens had warned him about hunting humans. "You're learning," Marcus observed as they paused in an abandoned warehouse. "I can see it in your eyes. You're starting to realize that humans aren't what your databases told you." Zexthak was backed against a wall, wounded and tired. His natural advantages had all been neutralized somehow. His strength meant nothing if he could not land a blow. His speed was useless if the human could predict where he was going. "What are you?" he asked desperately. "I'm exactly what I appear to be," Marcus replied. "A human diplomat who specializes in trade negotiations. But I'm also a product of human evolution and human culture. We're not the strongest species in the galaxy and we're not the fastest. But we are the most adaptable." The human began walking closer with slow, measured steps. "Humans survived on a world where everything was trying to kill us. Predators, diseases, environmental disasters, food shortages. We learned to adapt to any threat and overcome any challenge. Zexthak tried one final desperate attack using his venom-filled bite. He lunged forward with his jaws open, hoping to inject poison directly into the human's bloodstream. Marcus caught his head with both hands and held him motionless. The human's grip was surprisingly strong, and his positioning made it impossible for Zexthak to bring his teeth into contact with skin. Even your venom wouldn't work, Marcus said calmly. Humans have been exposed to countless toxins throughout our evolutionary history. Our immune systems can handle most biological poisons, and our medical technology can neutralize the rest. The human released him and stepped back. Zexthak collapsed to his knees, completely defeated. He had never failed a contract before. He had never even come close to failure. I don't understand, he said weakly. The guild databases said humans were harmless prey animals. The guild databases are based on very limited information, Marcus explained. Most galactic species have only seen humans in peaceful, controlled situations. You've never seen us when we're actually threatened or challenged. Marcus pulled out a small communication device and spoke into it. This is Chen. The situation is contained. Bring the transport to Warehouse 17 in the Industrial District. Zexthak looked up in confusion. Transport? Are you calling security to arrest me? Actually, Marcus said with a slight smile, I'm calling for backup. You see, this entire encounter has been a carefully planned demonstration. Human intelligence knew about your contract before you even arrived on this world. The warehouse doors opened, and 24 human soldiers entered. They were all armed with advanced weapons and wearing tactical armor. They moved with the same predatory confidence that Marcus had shown throughout the chase. Let me introduce you to the real reason humans are dangerous, Marcus said. We don't just adapt as individuals. We adapt as a species. Every human learns from the experiences of every other human. We share information, coordinate strategies, and plan for threats we haven't even encountered yet. Zexthak realized he had been completely outmaneuvered. This was all a setup. You knew I was coming. We knew someone would try eventually, Marcus confirmed. The Mercenary Guild has been spreading false information about human capabilities for years. We decided it was time to correct those misconceptions. The human soldiers surrounded Zexthak, but did not point their weapons at him. They seemed relaxed and confident, as if capturing a professional assassin was just another routine task. You're not going to kill me? Zexthak asked. Killing you would be wasteful, Marcus replied. You're going to serve a much more important purpose. You're going to go back to the guild and tell them what really happened here. You're going to update their databases with accurate information about human capabilities. Zexthak understood. You want me to spread fear about humans throughout the galactic underworld. Not fear, Marcus corrected. Respect. We want other species to understand that humans are not easy prey. We want the criminal organizations to think very carefully before they target human colonies or citizens. The assassin looked around at the human soldiers. Each one of them seemed calm and professional, but there was something in their eyes that reminded him of apex predators. They were not afraid of anything because they knew they could handle anything. One human defeated me completely, Zexthak said quietly. How many humans are there in the galaxy? About 12 billion in the colonies, Marcus answered. About 8 billion still on Earth. And every single one of them shares the same basic characteristics you've seen tonight. Adaptability, persistence, tool use, and the ability to work together. Zexthak finally understood why so many aliens had tried to warn him away from this contract. Humans were not just dangerous as individuals. They were dangerous as a civilization. The human soldiers escorted Zexthak to a clean medical facility inside the warehouse complex. They treated his injuries with professional care and efficiency. The burns on his hand were healed with advanced medical equipment. His exhaustion was relieved with carefully administered stimulants and nutrients. Why are you helping me? Zexthak asked the human medic who was bandaging his hand. Because you're going to help us, the medic replied simply. And we always take care of people who help us, even former enemies. Marcus Chen entered the medical bay carrying a data pad and a cup of coffee. He looked completely relaxed and comfortable, as if hunting down professional assassins was just part of his normal work routine. Feeling better? Marcus asked, sitting down across from Zexthak. Physically, yes, the assassin replied. Mentally, I am still trying to understand what happened tonight. You learned the difference between data and information. Marcus explained. The guild databases contained data about humans, but they didn't contain any real information about what humans are capable of. Marcus activated his datapad and showed Zexthak a series of files. These are the real statistics about human colonies. In the past 50 years, there have been over 3,000 attempted raids on human settlements by various criminal organizations. The first file showed attack statistics. Of those 3,000 attacks, exactly 17 succeeded in achieving their objectives. The other 2,983 attacks failed completely. Zexthak studied the numbers. Those failure rates are impossible. No species has defensive capabilities that effective. It's not about defensive capabilities, Marcus corrected. It's about human nature. When humans are attacked, they don't just defend themselves. They adapt, improvise, and counterattack. They turn every assault into a learning experience that makes them stronger. The next file showed casualty statistics. Human losses in those attacks averaged 12% per incident. Attacker losses averaged 87% per incident. Most surviving attackers were captured rather than killed. You capture more enemies than you kill? Zexthak asked. Dead enemies can't provide intelligence about future threats, Marcus explained. Live prisoners can tell us about their organizations, their methods, and their plans. Humans always think several steps ahead. Marcus showed him another file. This is what happened to the criminal organizations that attacked human colonies. 73% of them were completely eliminated within 1 year of their attacks. The remainder were severely damaged and never attempted another assault on human targets. Zexthak began to understand the scope of what he was seeing. Humans don't just defend themselves. They hunt down and destroy entire criminal organizations. We prefer to think of it as problem-solving, Marcus said with a slight smile. If someone attacks us, we solve the problem by making sure they can never attack anyone again. A new human entered the medical bay. This one was clearly military, with the bearing and scars of a professional soldier. Marcus introduced him as Colonel Sarah Martinez, commander of New Geneva's defense forces. Mr. Zexthak, the colonel said formally, I understand you've had an educational evening. Your people have shown me that everything I thought I knew about humans was wrong, Zexthak admitted. Not wrong. Exactly, Colonel Martinez corrected. Incomplete. The information available to most galactic species is based on observations of humans during peacetime, in controlled environments, interacting with friendly aliens. She sat down next to Marcus and continued. What you experienced tonight was a human responding to a direct threat. That's a very different situation, and it brings out very different capabilities. The colonel activated a holographic display showing various alien species. Every species in the galaxy has evolved to fill a specific ecological niche. Apex predators, herbivorous prey animals, parasites, scavengers, and so on. She highlighted the human figure. Humans are unusual because we evolved to fill multiple niches simultaneously. We're omnivores who can eat almost anything. We're persistence predators who can hunt other predators. We're tool users who can adapt to any environment. Zexthak studied the display. You are saying humans are not specialized for any particular role. Exactly the opposite, Colonel Martinez replied. We're specialized for adaptability itself. Other species are optimized for specific environments or food sources. Humans are optimized for surviving in any environment and eating any food source. Marcus added more information to the display. This is why human colonies are so difficult to attack successfully. We don't rely on any single defensive strategy. We use whatever works best for each specific situation. The display showed examples of human defensive tactics. Some colonies used advanced technology, others used guerrilla warfare. Some relied on environmental advantages. Others used psychological warfare to break enemy morale. No two human settlements defend themselves the same way, Colonel Martinez explained. Attackers can't develop standard tactics for defeating us because there are no standard human tactics to counter. Zexthak looked at the data with growing understanding. This is why the warnings I received were so consistent. Every species that has fought humans has learned the same lesson. Which is? Marcus prompted. Humans are not what they appear to be. You look like weak prey animals, but you are actually apex persistence predators, with advanced technology and unlimited adaptability. Colonel Martinez nodded approvingly. Very good. Now let's discuss what happens next. She activated another display showing Zexthak's ship and equipment. We've examined your vessel and your gear. Very impressive technology. Some of it is quite advanced compared to standard human equipment. Zexthak felt a moment of pride despite his defeat. I have collected the best weapons and tools from across the galaxy, which presents us with an interesting opportunity, Marcus said. We'd like to offer you a job. The assassin stared at them in shock. You want to hire me? After I tried to kill you? You tried to kill me based on false information, Marcus corrected. Now that you have accurate information, you're making different choices. That shows intelligence and adaptability. Those are qualities we value. Colonel Martinez leaned forward. Human colonies face threats from various criminal organizations. Pirates, slavers, weapon smugglers, and worse. We could use someone with your skills and experience to help us deal with those threats. You want me to hunt criminals instead of humans, Zexthak said slowly. We want you to use your abilities to protect innocent people instead of harming them, Marcus clarified. It's similar work, but with better moral justification and much better pay. The colonel activated another display showing salary and benefit information. The numbers were significantly higher than what most assassins earned from the mercenary guild. Human colonies take care of their defenders, she explained. Full medical benefits, retirement planning, life insurance, and educational opportunities. Much better than the freelance assassin lifestyle. Zexthak considered the offer carefully. What if I refuse? What if I choose to return to the guild and continue accepting contracts? That's your choice to make, Marcus replied. We won't force you to work for us, but we will make sure the guild receives accurate information about human capabilities. Future contracts targeting humans will be much more expensive and much more dangerous, Colonel Martinez added. We'll also be sharing your personal information with other human colonies. If you ever target human civilians again, every human settlement in the galaxy will know you're coming. The threat was politely delivered but absolutely clear. Zexthak could continue his career as an assassin, but humans would no longer be easy targets. They would be prepared for him specifically. On the other hand, Marcus continued, if you work with us, you'll have the protection and support of human civilization. That's worth quite a lot in a dangerous galaxy. Zexthak thought about everything he had learned that night. The warnings from other aliens now made perfect sense. Humans were not weak prey animals. They were highly organized, technologically advanced persistence predators who never forgot a threat and never left problems unsolved. If I accept your offer, what would my first assignment be? He asked. Colonel Martinez smiled. There's a pirate organization called the Crimson Fleet that's been raiding shipping lanes near the Vegan trade routes. They've attacked several human cargo vessels in the past month. She showed him intelligence files about the pirates. We need someone to infiltrate their organization and gather information about their bases, their ships, and their leadership structure. And then? Zexthak asked. Then we solve the problem permanently, Marcus said simply. Zexthak looked around the medical bay at the humans who had defeated him so completely. They were offering him a chance to use his skills for a better purpose, with better pay and better protection than he had ever received from the guild. I accept your offer, he said finally. Marcus extended his hand in the human gesture of agreement. Welcome to the team, Zexthak. You're going to find that working with humans is much more interesting than working against us. As they shook hands, Zexthak realized he was looking forward to his new career. Hunting pirates and criminals would be much more challenging than assassinating soft targets.